Okay, we're ready to start. This is the second class of homekeeping. And I want to thank you all for coming back. A couple things that I forgot to mention that I had up on the table, and my helpers kindly reminded me. I forgot to talk about the fruit, and I'm going to do that now. And I also forgot one other thing. This fruit I have done something with it that I had never heard of before. There's a channel online called The Cross Legacy. Has anybody heard of it? Cross Legacy. Write it down, because when we're done and you go home, you can check into the Cross Legacy. Amy Cross is the one that opened that channel. She was raised on a farm, and they took care of their produce in a certain way. And they didn't have waste. The produce lasted. Nowadays, you come home with produce and it's gone in a couple days. So I tried it, and I've been doing it for a few years. I didn't bring it to you last year because I was full, my class was full then, but I'm bringing it to you this year. What it does is it's a washing system for your fruits and vegetables. The specifics you'll have to go on. She has a book on it. I don't have the book, but I do plan on purchasing it. And it tells you how to do each item. I have strawberries and I have grapes here. So when you come home with your fruit, you take it and you put it in. You're going to wash it right away. You don't want to wait. You just want to do it that day. And hopefully you have time. You put it in a bowl. I put it in a big bowl. You put at least 10 cups of water in. Then you put in a 1/4 cup of vinegar, white distilled vinegar. It's said that you can use apple cider vinegar. I'm going to say don't. Apple cider vinegar is more expensive. And also, you want to use that for other things. This costs about $4 or $5. You need a lot of these. And there's other things that you do besides washing produce with vinegar. So the white vinegar, you put a 1/4 cup of white vinegar in your water. Then you put your fruit, and if there are bad pieces of fruit in there, you take those out. Like if there's mold on a grape, you would remove that. You wouldn't try to wash it. But you put the fruit in the water. Set a timer for 2 minutes. That's it. And then you kind of agitate the fruit around, and you're just moving it around, kind of swishing the water over the fruit. And then when the timer goes off, you take the fruit out, don't dump it, take it out, and you put it in a colander, a strainer. And you rinse it off. You never taste any vinegar or anything. Then you take a towel, and you can have specific towels for this, and you lay it on your counter or on your table, wherever you can lay it, and leave it for 4 hours at least. And you take the fruit from the colander and you lay it out on the towel. It has to dry completely. You can turn it over, but for the most part, you forget about it. Like in weather like this, you can forget about it and it'll dry. So once it's dried, you put it in a glass container. It's specifically glass. I have a couple of these, and I use it for a lot of fruit. This is from Costco. This holds Costco-sized grapes. And these were done 4 days ago. I did the strawberries the same. These can last up to 3 weeks.
And that's not refrigerated?
Refrigerated. So once you dry the fruit, you put a towel or a paper towel in the bottom, because fruit and vegetables release moisture. That absorbs the moisture. Then I'm not sure if she says this or that this is my idea, but I put another paper towel over the top because it's constant, the moisture. And she does say if there's, I put my name on that jar, sorry. There's constant condensation. So you just take a towel and you kind of wipe it off. You don't have to take everything out and dry it, but I wiped it off, put a dry towel back, paper towel back in, close it, and back into the refrigerator. I have strawberries in a jar, local strawberries. Everybody knows those last maybe 3 days tops. Local, so it's almost 2 weeks. And I didn't bring them because I wasn't sure if I took them out and kept them out too long, if they would go bad at this point. But Amy says that I think strawberries can last up to 3 weeks. She has different times on her food, on different foods. That's why you have to go to her channel and check it out. But she does vegetables this way. I did some lettuce. It stayed crispy. And it's been washed and in the refrigerator for 4 or 5 days. And that was done after I had it for over a week in the fridge. I didn't get to it. I was busy. And so I did it real quick. And it's still crispy. We used the rest of it today. So that is the Cross Legacy, Amy Cross, and it works. And I will tell you that. And she will go through all the vegetables, how to do it, and how long they'll keep. And they're all different. That's why you have to check her out. Okay, any questions on this? 10 cups of water. She says 10 cups of water to a quarter cup of vinegar. And I recommend the white. She says either or, but I do recommend just cost effective.
Do you take the tops off your strawberries before you eat them?
No, thank you. You want to, like with grapes, you want to leave them on the stem. Any that have fallen off, I just keep out and wash in the same water, but we eat them. They go in lunches or whatever. So with strawberries, I've got the stem still on. And if the stem was off, local picked, sometimes they do come without the stem. They are so ripe, they pick them. Stem doesn't come with them. Just wash and eat those.
I sometimes will store my lettuce in a glass jar with water in it in the fridge. Like if you had a cut of flour, can you store that if you don't have a lot of glass jars like that with the white vinegar in it? That helps?
I don't know. I imagine it would help. But what you're doing when you wash the produce with this, she says it just takes the bacteria and stuff off of it. So that's why it doesn't go bad as fast.
And the chemicals too, I think it's supposed to take out the chemicals that they spray. Oh,
so that is something that I wanted to pass on to you guys, because we can't afford food to go bad. Even if you've got money, that's not where you want to spend it. You want your food to last, and then you spend your money on buying Bibles or mission or something. That's where we need to. So this, moving on, this is a rug beater. This is a rug beater. In the No Buy No Sell, you will not have a vacuum. Sad to say, unless you have solar. We're talking non-solar housing. So you won't have a vacuum. And why? Yes, you can use a broom handle. You can use a stick. But they had these things for a reason. When you buy the old stuff, they were made because they used them all the time. And the reason why you would need a rug beater is because it's flexible. This is a spring, and it doesn't jar your wrist every time you hit. Our wrists, we have never used our wrists as much as we are going to, and hands. So whenever you can save your hands, that's important. So when you're out going to thrift stores or antique malls, look for usable antiques. I don't buy the China dolls and all that stuff. I buy things like this and come home with it. All right. So I look back on the old time things. What do they have and why'd they use it? So they use dippers a lot. And I'm like, why'd they use dippers? All right. We use a glass and a tap. We put the glass under the tap and we get our water that way. If you're dipping water out of a bucket, it's going to be a lot easier to have something to pour in. They used to drink out of their dippers, but we're not going to do that. We know a little bit more. And so it's easy to dip out a portion size. This is obviously a commercial kitchen dipper. It has measures on the inside, but I found it and I bought it. This will dip a lot at one time. We are going to be busy people, busier than we've ever been. We don't have dishwashers to push a button. We don't have washing machines to push the buttons, irons, whatever we use. We don't have the luxury. So if the more we can make things convenient, the easier it will be on us. And if you're making a communal soup and you're dipping out for the community, there's measurements. You give everybody the same. Everybody gets the same. Because children can't have more than adults, even though they're growing, because if you become sick and weak, who's going to take care of them? You have to keep yourself in health. Of course, we are, and we're not taking God out of this, because we will have God, but just in the practical part of this, we have to maintain our health. So everybody gets the same amount. And, I brought this is a dipper for now. This is my favorite dipper when I'm canning. You've probably seen me use it in my canning demos. But this doesn't compare with this for dipping water or soup. If you don't have a dipper, use a cup. These are not things we have to have, but if you see them and you want them, pick them up. There's a use for them. If you have a cup, dip a cup in. Just remember, a measuring cup would be better if you can do that. The glass measuring cups with the handle would be better. But if you don't have one of those, use a regular cup. And then you don't have to try to purchase dippers like these. I've collected this stuff over years, probably the last 6-7 years. So vegetables come out of the ground dirty. When we buy them in the stores or even at the farmers markets, they are not dirty. Having some scrubbers for your vegetables will be nice. You're going to eat the peels. You're going to scrub them clean and eat the peel. You're not going to have the luxury of peeling your carrots or your potatoes. You're going to want to eat them. The nutrients are in there. So scrub them well and eat the whole thing. I'm going to show you something. My sisters love this. Becky showed me hers first. And then I'm like, Lord, if I'm to show that at one of my classes, please show me. Well, I found this for $5 brand new at a thrift store. So this is going to be my new food processor, because remember, we do not have the power to run our appliances. Why do I need this? I have knife skills. Those of you that don't know me, I have knife skills, just saying. But why would I not use those skills? Well, I can, but when I have people over and I'm busy and I need help in the kitchen, and maybe my only helpers are kids, I'm not taking a chance with their fingers. or messing up the food. Blood is not good to eat. So knives are not an option for some people. If you have arthritis, maybe our hands are going to be bad. You can pull, but chopping, you have to grip the knife. You have to have control over your knife. And so this is an off-grid chopper. I'm going to stop while I chop. Stop talking. These are nuts. And so I just chopped up the nuts. So,
Yeah, what brand is that?
you know, this was from a thrift store. It was new, but it was from the thrift store. Oh, it's Joie. No, there's no Joie. Joy.
Amazon, and sometimes you can find it at the grocery outlet.
Okay, there you go. Grocery outlet, Amazon, Fred Meyer. Look for them. I went to my favorite store and got mine.
Where's your favorite store? Windsor?
Thrift store. Value Village. All right. So on the subject of knives, there are other things that will save you from having to use a knife. And one is a mandolin. And as I thought I could use one without protection, I got protection. So this is totally, it's not resistant. It's cut proof. This is a metal glove that you use with mandolins. Mandolins are fast, and you can get through whatever you need to get through quickly. If your apple harvest is in and you're trying to put it up, you can get through it with a mandolin very quickly. But it won't do you any good to get through it quickly if you cut off a finger. And maybe you have a nurse in your house, but that's not fair to that nurse to have to try to put your finger back on. So anyway, that is good for mandolin. And if somebody's, what else is there? There are other things that do the cut. There's the things that you push down. I have one of those. You put the food in and you push it down and pushes the food through the blades. Those work nicely. I just didn't bring it because I figured one chopper is good. Now, after talking about the knives, we're moving on. These are medical books. This is the Boy Scout handbook. I went looking for it because I figured, now I have some medical background, but I figured the Boy Scout handbook is written for children to understand. What if I'm hurt and somebody else who doesn't know what to do needs to help me? Or if I don't know about something, I can help someone else. This is written for the layperson to understand. Our husbands can come get it. Your wives can come get it. Look up what they need. It's written in language that you can understand when you're scared, nervous, or whatever, and you can help somebody with that. That's not a bad thing to have. If you don't have that, this is a first aid manual for soldiers. I found this in an antique store, and I bought it because this is made for soldiers in the field, and they're under conditions that are primitive. We're going to be under conditions that are primitive. So this manual is written for the typical soldier, not the medic. This is written for the soldier in the field, what to do in case whatever happens, broken leg, whatever. So these are a couple ideas. It's not the only thing you can get, but it's a couple of ideas to have some medical and easily understood medical books on hand. Now we're moving on to heating and cooling. Heating in an off-grid situation. You're going to have fires. But what if we can't have fires? What if you run out of wood? What if it's a cold winter and you have to let the fire go out because you're in bed and you're going to be warm? You restart it in the morning. So through the night to keep warm, I looked at what did people do in the past. So what I found is they used a lot of wool. These are mine. These are wool. I got them at the thrift store for $2.50. I don't think anybody even used them. They just seemed new. No pilling. That's how you can tell with wool. Any pilling or snags, whatever. And these were in pristine condition. Even if they weren't, I didn't care because you can wash them. And it's okay to buy used socks because you use your socks every day. If the wash machine doesn't get them clean, then why are you washing them? So it's okay to buy used socks and wash them. These are an expensive sock. They're Danish socks, Danish endurance socks. I looked them up. They're not cheap. I think they're like $40-something a pair. I paid $1.50. I got 3 pairs. I don't know. When you pray for the Lord to lead you to what you need, He will. And so I have these for when people come and it's cold. I don't think it's only going to be men outside bringing in the wood or doing the outdoor manual labor. It's going to be everybody. So whoever goes outside needs to have something to keep them warm. Hence, hats. So if you have 2 or 3 of these for you and your family, what are you going to do when people come over? You need to have a few. Like I said, I get them new if I can, but I try to get them without little bobs and bits on them, just because, and I'll tell you why, just because at night when you're sleeping, you lose a lot of heat out of your head, or even during the day. So if you're not heating your house up a lot, if you can't, wear a hat. It keeps the heat in. They used to wear stocking caps, and there was a reason for that. So while you sleep, you don't want to have like mouse ears or something. You don't want to lay on that. So try to get just plain, ordinary hats. The cuff will go down, make it longer. So hats for outside in the winter and hats for in the house while you're sleeping. The same with scarves. This is it's a soft wool, so I can wear this one. So get wool whenever you can. It's warmer, and if you sweat, it's breathable. And that's good for in the house and outside. Now, I got this scarf. This is not for somebody to wear for warmth. When I was young, my mom used to put, if we had a sore throat or a cold or something, she'd put Vicks on our throats, and we had wool for around our throats. Well, that is what this scarf is for. This is wool, and it's washable, so that's not a problem. If you don't use Vicks, the new Vicks, there is a homemade Vicks recipe with coconut oil, tea tree oil, and eucalyptus oil. I have not made this, but I have the recipe, and I have everything to make it. But if you're trying to avoid chemicals or whatever's in Vicks, I like Vicks, but this is a good alternative. Any questions on this so far? Oh, good.
When you say your favorite store, are you actually saying Value Village? Because I need to know.
Value Village is where you can get new things for less money.
You go to Bellingham?
I drive to Bellingham. That's the best one. And pray before you go, because a couple times I was like, Lord, is there something there for me? And I go on Tuesdays because it's 30% off for seniors. And if you donate, if you're not a senior and you donate to it, they will give you a little coupon for 20% off. So that's almost the same. So you can use that coupon anywhere. Value Village.
What is the senior?
15
above.
Yes. So
Some places.
yes, Value Village is very nice doing that. This is an emergency blanket. It is military cart, emergency sleeping bag. Now, this I carry in my car. Vicki ordered these for me, and this is in my house, so that if you are caught with extra people, or your car is broken down, or there's an EMP and you're somewhere and you have to walk home, this will save your life. It doesn't matter when well, I guess in the wintertime and the spring, it gets very cold here at night, even in the summertime, but it can get cold. But this can save your life. And I recommend everybody get these. These were about, what, 10? I think I paid less. I paid 8 or 9.
After that, I just went to that link, but I think you can get them cheaper on Amazon.
So look them up, and you can get them. You can find your price point or where you want to order them from. But I've never taken one out because I don't want to try to put it back in. I want it for an emergency, but it's a metallic-y type blanket.
Military blanket?
This is military cart, K-A-R-T. Emergency sleeping bag. So still on the theme of heating, we're going to be building fires. Our wood supply is it will dwindle, but we will have to restock it or you won't have heat. So anyway, you want to take care of your wood supply. You don't want to burn through it quickly. One thing in Texas, when the cold winter happened in Texas, people died. And they would get heat for 2 hours a day. The power would go on for 2 hours a day. They didn't know when. And they would hurry up. One woman that I follow, she would hurry up and heat water, but they didn't have anywhere to put it. So you have hot water, and if you don't have something that keeps it hot, it's not going to do you any good. This is a thermos, and I've had this since probably, I think I got it when I was 24. It's the old glass, like the old glass thermoses inside. Do not drop it. And just be careful with it, but it will keep things hot for you for hours. And then it will keep things warm for you. We don't have to have boiling hot. Warm will be good on a cold winter night. And so it can hold soup. You'd have to take the lid off to pour the soup out. But if you heat soup up during that time and you want to eat a hot meal in a few hours, put it in something like a thermos. And then you will have hot food or warm. But you have to have the thermoses to do that with. So make sure you have something insulated. I don't know, they used to have these hot pump things that would serve tea or water or coffee out of. Those never seem to work very well. And so I like things that are more, that you can count on. Water. When you are hand pumping water from your well, I don't know, this is for people who are pumping water from their well. If you have solar, you're not going to have to worry about it. But if you're out pumping the water, you have to have a place to store it. Water's heavy. You have to move it from the pump to your house. You have to keep it in your house. Where are you going to put it? If you have 15 people living in your house, or more, where are you going to put the water? So I've got jugs, and I'm going to fill them with the water. And this will be the drinking and cooking water. Fill it up at the well, so I don't have to transfer. I think pumping, it should go directly into the jug. And I don't have to worry about putting in a bucket and trying to pour it in. I'm hoping. But if it doesn't, I will put it in a bucket and I will pour it in. It's just things that we have to do. Even if things don't go as planned, just adapt. Figure something different and it can work. If you have to put it in something with a spout, use a measuring cup. Cup at a time. It will take a while, but you can do it. So to clean them, make sure you check the end. I've got some of these bottle brushes that are so big at the end they won't go into the jugs. So you want to put it in, see if you can fit it in, and then you can clean it. So much easier than trying to put a rag in, rolling it around, and then trying to get the rag out. This is one of my favorite things. Not so much the pot, but I like the pot. But I have a big white teapot. I couldn't find it. Things are still packed. That probably would give a cup of hot tea to everybody. If I make the tea, put it in. But I filled this up with water and tea. I put a tea cozy on. People don't know what a tea cozy is anymore. I was at a garage sale, and the women, I said, I'll take that. It was $1. It was new. And they go, do you know what that is? We got that. We tried putting it on our toaster, and they thought it was a toaster cover. I said, yes, I know exactly what that is. That is a tea cozy. It will keep your pot hot for quite a while. You'll use the tea before it goes cold. If you don't have a pot, put it on a jar. Put it over. When you have a mason jar, make your tea in a mason jar. They're made to hold hot liquids. Put this over. If you don't have a tea cozy, put towels around it. Put wool and then towels around it, and you've got a place to keep a warm beverage. I grow my own mint and dry it because mint is healthful. Know your mints. And if you have it dried throughout the winter and somebody comes to you, we're not going to have a lot to eat. If somebody's stomach is upset, mint tea can soothe it. Just the act of drinking tea calms me down. So I think it calms a lot of people down. So that's the tea. Another thing for heating, a hot water bottle. So when you heat up your water, you can fill up your hot water bottle. And so if somebody's not feeling well or it's a cold night, you can take it to your bed and they can sleep with it. Children who have less body mass, less muscle mass, or women that don't have a lot, men, whoever, they need added warmth. So you can warm up your bed, or they can just hug it and stay warm. Also, if somebody's sick, if you have a sore throat or whatever, you can put this on. I was at a thrift store. I always check everywhere. Check everything. I found, I forget how many of these. I think 9 of these. It's double flannel, thank you. Double flannel, and they're sewed all the way around. But what they're going to be made into are bean bags. This is actually a rice bag made by a rice. And I had 2. I used it last year so much. My niece came over to use it and it split open. The material split apart. How I use them, I have a wood stove. I only heat with wood. I found this at a thrift store. See the feet? You put it on your stove and it heats your bean bag or rice bag. Turn it over, heats the other side. It stays hot. Whenever you want it, you take it off. If you have a really blazing fire, you wouldn't leave it on. But I have this one is the same. And I use this one more because it's a little bigger, but I'd use either. And got them both at the thrift store. Somebody bought them new, didn't know what to do with them. I did. So we have a bunch of these, and it's going to be easy to sew. That's a good idea. A wool sock filled with rice. That can go around your neck or in the front. You can put that anywhere to warm you up, but that is an awesome way. So check anywhere you can. Flannel is expensive. And this is already mostly done. So that is nice. It's a hot day. Whoop, I can't do that. So it's a hot day. You're trying to keep cool. There is no fan going in your house, no air conditioning. We don't know what kind of weather we'll be having. It's whatever it is, I'm sure there's going to be heat. But these were created for personal fans. And they're not expensive. They're easy to store. You can have a whole drawer full of them. And one thing that you can do, I don't drink out of the plastic, but this is a spritzer. So you spritz yourself, and then you can fan yourself, and it cools you down. So this you can do to children. And my niece had this, and she was getting rid of it. I said, I know exactly what I want to do with that. So I took it. Okay, we're going to get to some different stuff. I have there. Wait a minute. So we're back on the cooling. This is a Zeer pot, Z-E-E-R. It's 67 degrees in this Zeer pot. So this works best in a hot, dry climate. But I tried it, even though I know we're not hot and dry. I tried it because I wanted to see if it would work some here, and it does. So that's why I'm showing it to you. This is a big unglazed pot. You can use any size pot you want. I have another pot inside. You see the second pot inside? So it's smaller. I put sand in the bottom so that the middle pot would be level with the rim of the first pot. So you put dry sand in the bottom. Then you fill, and I used this, but you could use any like plastic water bottle. These are nice to have for things like that. But I used this, and I filled it with sand. And you fill it as much as you can, and then you pack it down, and it doesn't until it's full. Then you take water and you put water. I did this a few days ago, and it's still working. This is cold. You guys will have to come fill it. You just fill it with water, and you don't go too fast, because what that does is causes liquefaction, and it'll pop your pot out. So you go slow so the water goes in and makes the sand wet. And they both have to be unglazed pots. You have to plug the hole what I used to do that is a piece of masking tape, duct tape, duct tape, which if you don't have a lot of that on hand, you're going to wish you had.
You use it for what again?
To the hole in the bottom of the pots. These are flower pots. So you cover the bottom of each one, the hole. And then after you get it wet, I put the thermometer in, and then I take a lid. Now this doesn't fit exactly, but I put it concave. And whatever you put in there will be cooler than anything not in there, because everything will be the same temp out here. But if you put it in there, so I tried this out, and I started it at 12 o'clock in. It was 76 degrees outside. I checked it and it was 63 degrees in the pot, but that was because it had been out all night. I checked it at 1 o'clock. It was 79 degrees outside and 65 degrees inside. 14-degree difference. Now, in the desert climate, they were saying that it was over 30 degrees difference. And what you do is after you put the lid on, you cover it with a light colored cloth. Now, some said to wet it and some didn't. So they just put it on dry. And it's cotton, so evaporation can happen. And it was very consistent. I kept checking it, and it was 14 degrees difference at 3, 14 degrees difference at 5. So this is significant if you're off grid, a way to cool with just water and a couple pots. I'm going to get more. Got these at Hobby Lobby. You have to check and make sure there aren't cracks in them, because a lot of them have cracks. I ordered in other pots for other projects in my garden, but this is amazing. So afterwards, you guys can come check it out. Okay. I'm going to put it down. Do it the way I said. Just
You add a little bit of water every time
no.
that you're going to use it, or just the one time?
Well, you're going to have to reapply water, but this is 3 days later and it's still cool. And I don't know what the temp is outside. Andrew, do you happen to know that? It's warm. And so there you go. So the hotter it is outside, the colder that seems to get. And it equalizes out at night. So it goes up, the temp goes up. We're going to talk about getting ready for the Sabbath in an off-grid situation. Somebody, I said, what do you think you do? Well, I know how to get ready for the Sabbath. I said, no stove, no washing machine, no vacuum, no lights, no power. And they sat there and they said, I have no idea how to get ready for the Sabbath. So I decided that was going to be a topic. I read it in Sister White. There was an article from Loma Linda, and her granddaughter was an old lady, and they interviewed her. I tried finding the article. I had sent it to Becky at one time. It was 17 pages long. I read every page. It's gone. They removed it. It's gone from your feed, and it's gone from mine. So I'm sad. I don't know why they did that, but she was asked, what do you do about dishes? And this is what the granddaughter said. She said, I worked in her kitchen. I helped in the kitchen. And that was her chores. And she said we had a bucket. On Friday night, we would start sundown until sundown, and we would fill the bucket with water, and we would put our dishes in the bucket. And then that way it wouldn't dry on, but that's the purpose of it. And so then when sundown came, you would be able to do your dishes at your earliest opportunity. And I thought that is very wise to do. I wouldn't really understand what to do. I have a pan now. I have a dish pan. I have a rectangle sink. And so I got a square bowl. You don't have to have a square bowl. You can use what you have. But I wanted something that I knew was dedicated to my dirty dishes in the sink, that I wouldn't take it out and use it and then not have it for my dishes. So I bought a specific pan for the sink for dirty dishes. This will be what I wash in, because you're not going to fill your sink with water to wash your dishes. We already know there's no dishwasher, but you're going to have a dish, two bowls, one for rinsing and one for washing. And you'll wash, get the soap off as best you can, rinse, and then it's gone. You don't have to have blazing hot water. In fact, that would not be good for your hands. Warm water will do, because a lot of times it's going to be hard to keep water hot. You can keep a tea kettle on your stove, but you have to fill it up throughout the day, because if it's burning, it will evaporate. So that's how you're going to do dishes. And there are all kinds of buckets. I just have a couple here. This, I'm going to get another one of these for hauling water outside for drinking. I prefer the stainless steel than the plastic for drinking. This one, Martin just brought me home, and it's got a spout on it and everything. I'm like, thank you. He works in the hospital, and they just throw everything away. So have a bucket. Why would you have a bucket and not carry it in a stainless steel bowl? Well, if you carry water in a stainless steel bowl, it starts circling. You've heard of circling the drain? Well, it circles. And then eventually it stops circling and splashes. So that's why a bucket is made for carrying water. Bowls were not. So I found out why. Heating your food up on Sabbath. I've had a lot of questions about that. And in Ministry of Healing, she addresses this, because apparently it was a topic back then. Cooking on the Sabbath should be avoided, but it is not therefore necessary to eat cold food. In cold weather, the food prepared the day before should be heated, and let the meals, however simple, be palatable and attractive, especially in families where there are children. It is well on the Sabbath to provide something that will be regarded as a treat, something the family do not have every day. So yes, we're going to try to do our cooking beforehand, but you don't have to eat cold food. Now, what does that look like? Everybody thinks of the guy in the desert who gathered sticks and they stoned him. So we're not going to be doing that. On a Friday night or a Friday before sundown, you have to get enough wood in. And this is something trial and error, because how many of you heat with wood heat? So if you heat with wood heat, you know how much you need to get you through till sundown the next day. I know how much wood I need. You have to do that for the next day also, Sabbath. But then you have to do it also for Sunday, because when we're at this point, Sunday law is in. We're not allowed to work on Sunday. So either you're out after sundown Sabbath night, and in the wintertime that's pretty early, but in the summer it's late. And you want to have enough wood to carry you through. So if you don't, you can go out after sundown Sabbath night, and in the wintertime you'd be out. It comes pretty early. So we don't know what the rules will be for Sunday, their Sunday Sabbath. We're not supposed to work and flaunt it in their face. We're supposed to have our work done, but you're going to have to prepare for the entire weekend. And you're going to maybe have your water pumped, get extra in, and have extra food. I don't know if they're going to say no fires, but they could. But if you have extra food made, that's okay. How are you going to keep that food cool? Well, you have a zero pot, that might work. In the wintertime, outside is cool. So if it's cool outside, you can put your food outside. But anybody who's lived in the country or the city knows you put food outside, what's going to come and get it? Exactly, critters. So Andrew found this. This is his. I have one too. This is a metal toolbox. There's a name for it. I can't remember the name. And what was that again? Truck box. So truck box. You can put this on your deck under your house was the specific thing that somebody in a video he had seen had it under their house. I don't have a crawl big enough to have it under my house. It will go on my deck or wherever I want to put it. And then the food can go in this and critters cannot get in. Bugs, rats, raccoons, anything like that. You guys leave possums alone. They're good. So anyway, you can shut it. And I don't know, is there a lock for this?
So that one does have a lock on it. Some of them don't. Another way to help maintain the temperature inside is to sink it 3/4 of the way into the ground. So you're having the ground temperature helping to maintain its heat. I kept potatoes in there all winter long, and it was sitting outside along our foundation, and it kept them nice.
Yeah, no freezing. Of course, we didn't have a hard winter, but we still had freezes and kept the potatoes from freezing. If food, fresh vegetables freeze, some of them, you can't recover them. So potatoes are one.
Yeah, I kept potatoes in my pump house, and I think it was warmer in there, and they sprouted a whole lot more than the potatoes that were in there. And I think it may have had to do with the temperature.
So this is an option, even a smaller one. It just pay attention to what you're going to use. You can use totes with lids that lock on, but things can chew their way into totes. But if that's all you have, use that. So
My mom uses really big, oversized coolers for hay. She'll line the inside bottom with hay, and then layer vegetables in, and then layer another hay, and keep going that way. And she's been able to keep her veggies outside without it freezing all winter.
does she keep them under cover?
She has them in the garage, but it's not heated.
In the garage. So if you didn't hear Shelley, she said her mother, big coolers, they are good for keeping things cold or hot. You can keep things hot in them too, but cold. And she lines them with hay and then the vegetables. And you can layer and as long as the vegetables aren't touching, they don't cause each other to go bad. And then she covers it with hay to insulate it. And she's able to keep vegetables from the garden in her garage. Thank you. So we've got ways to keep things cool. There are other ways. This is not everything. But if you do find something, let me know next year.
I've seen people take an old chest freezer and bury it.
Yes, as long as it doesn't lock on when it shuts.
You have to manually lock them.
Well, it used to be when the old ones, you close it and they will shut and you can't open them from the inside, not locked from the outside. But yes, they did used to bury old chest freezers. So if you have lamps, I just had the class on lamps, have them trimmed, filled, ready to go. It's okay to light lamps. We turn light switches on and off. Laundry. Laundry is not going to be quick. How many of you have ever Friday morning started your laundry, made sure it was ready, your clothes were ready for Sabbath? You cannot do that. In my home, I'm going to aim to have an outfit for Sabbath for everybody ready by Wednesday. That way, if there is some emergency that comes up and you can't get to laundry, you still have something clean to wear on Sabbath. Sister White is very explicit on that. She says we have to be clean and we need clean clothes. So do your laundry, have your outfit. It doesn't have to be, it's probably not going to be real dressy, but at least clean, and have that ready for the Sabbath. So that's one less thing you're going to have to think about, because everything is going to take way longer than you thought it would. Another thing is baths and showers. So we have to bathe Friday night, or we take showers in the morning too. So you could bathe, actually do a sponge bath Saturday morning, because you're not going to be hauling wood and stuff on Sabbath morning, but you can do a sponge bath. There's nothing wrong with that. Wash your face. We wash our faces and take showers. So do that and make sure that everybody gets theirs. Kids, you can start early. If it's the winter, if it's the summer and they're outside playing, they'll just get dirty again. So wait a little while. But there are all sorts of ways. We've gone over showering off grid, and Andrew has done classes on showering and how to make showers. So if you've missed those, go back on Dawn's channel. Look at our past stuff. We have a lot of classes in these things that we need to know how to do. What is the website?
Preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com.
There you go. Preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com. That's Dawn's channel. And I never go on it because I see everything. Sorry. And we will be ready for Sabbath. Are there any questions on the Sabbath?
Oh, okay, never mind. I just wanted to be sure you remembered that.
Yes. I almost didn't, but then I did.
Okay.
But thank you. She's my helper. All right. Now, this is something special. In fact, it's so special, I have 3. Getting ready for the Sabbath. Getting ready for any day. These are called Wonder Bags. A Wonder Bag, I call them happy bags. Andrew calls them pillow cookers. But their official name is Wonder Bag. They work well. I bought one to try it out. They come from South Africa. These do. They're getting pricey, but with the tariffs, but I didn't care. Got a second one. This is one made in America. This is called Hungry Fan. I don't know if you can get them bigger than this. My son-in-law, who ordered it for me, he got this one. He said he couldn't find sizes. And the ones from Africa, they have big, medium, and small. Get the big. Because the big, if you buy them, get the big, because the big will fit a small pot. But if you get the small, you can't put a big pot. If you're cooking for a lot of people, you want the biggest pot you can. This is why I have this when I'm talking about Sabbath. I have 3, and for a reason. One is going to have hot water in it, one is going to have breakfast in it, and one is going to have lunch and dinner. Because you're down to 2 meals at this point. So you figure your times for your meals. I'm going to tell you what a Wonder Bag does. A Wonder Bag is an off-grid cooker. It's not solar, and you don't plug it in anywhere. It's a pillow cooker. In Africa, South Africa, where this is made, they had rolling blackouts or brownouts constantly. And so they'd be cooking, and their food wouldn't be done. They didn't have cooked food to eat. And so a woman came up with this idea to help the people that didn't have solar. So what they came up with, and I didn't bring it. I used it, and so I left it home. But it's a little pamphlet on a cookbook, and it tells you the times and what you can cook in them. But I have done split pea soup in this, and what you do is you make your soup, and you cook it on your stove for 10 minutes. The soup was 10 minutes. If you want to go 15, that's fine too. Then you put on a lid that's tight-fitting. You want it to be made for the pot you've got. And I have what's called Rena-ware, and Rena-ware are made to fit tight. So if you come across Rena-ware, buy them in thrift stores. And then you have a trivet or something at the bottom. Becky found these really cool wooden round plates at Hobby Lobby. So I had this from my favorite store, and so it fit perfectly. You want to trivet so it doesn't sit directly, the hot pot doesn't sit directly on the pillow. And then it says to wrap a few tea towels around it. I don't know. I just got a big old towel, and I put it down because the premise is you're going to wrap this in to help keep the heat in, help the bag. And then I put my pot, and then I put another towel over it, and then bring these in. Then you put the top on. I'm going to move this. I don't know where. Okay. So then you don't want a lid or a real tall pot. You want one that's wide and not real tall. And the lid, you don't want a handle that's high, just a flat knob or whatever. You put this on, and then you start cinching it up. Thank you. Takes a village. All right. So then you're pulling this tight, and your pot is in there. And when you've got it, make sure your top is in. And how you do the handles, like this. And I go like this, and that makes sure the pillow doesn't pop out the top. This is contained. Now you can leave it like this, and it will cook. It cooked the pea soup, and I had that written down, but I don't have those times. I checked it after 6 hours, and it was hot and it was cooked. It will depend on your legume. If they're old, they're tougher, so they may not cook as fast. So if you're planning to use soup, and you are using peas, and Andrew did lentil soup in it and cooked beautifully. If I had not opened it, after 16 hours, it would have still been hot. But what I do also, just to make sure it doesn't hurt anything, I have a down comforter, and I plop that over it too. And I know it does something because when I pull it out, the down comforter is a little warm. So it doesn't hurt to give it a little extra help. The Hungry Fan is cheaper than that, the Happy Bag, the Glad Bag. And it's a Wonder Bag, but it's cheaper, and it's supposed to be the same, but it is smaller. And it feels like it's made of a little bit of different material. But you don't have tariffs on this. And I can do a small, what I do in this one, I do steel cut oats. And how I put them in, and they're cooked after, I just leave everything in at least 6 hours. So why on Friday I would use this to get ready is not just to eat, but in the morning, especially any morning, when you have wood heat, it's cold in the morning. Your stove has not been going all night. You're cold. If you have one filled with water, it will still be hot the next day, the next morning. And you boil it I boiled mine 10 minutes and then put it in. And that gets the pan hot, the water hot, and it stays hot. I did pinto beans. Could not get them to cook all the way. And I did different things. I had just purchased the pinto beans, and pinto beans are a hard bean. And I thought, we do not know how old the food is now that we're getting. And so I thought they're old beans. There is a technique that you can do. It didn't help. You can, it said that for old beans, you can soak them in soda, baking soda, and that will loosen the skin. From my research, the reason why the bean is hard is not the inside. I always assumed it was the inside that just kept getting harder. It's the outside of the bean. And so soaking them in soda water is supposed to help. I don't know how much it does. I did a dry skillet fry of the bean. It's almost like roasting. That's another technique I found one time. Did it help? You put it in a skillet that's high, and you turn it down, and then you're constantly having the beans stirred with a wooden spoon. I will show you a technique in our cooking class tomorrow on that. It didn't help. They didn't cook. So I'm not sure if and the booklet says that beans are supposed to be done within 4 to 5 hours, but I could not get my beans to finish. They softened, but they weren't done all the way. If I had to eat them like that, I could, because they aren't crunchy, but they're too firm in the center. They just weren't cooked soft all the way. Trying a smaller bean. I'm going to try a navy bean. They're a smaller bean. I'm pretty sure those will cook all the way. And a small red bean. I'm going to try those. Black beans, another small bean. But just be aware that that can happen. But play around with it. If you get them, play around with them and figure out what works for you and the food. And like I said, it can depend on how good it is, your food. So older food. Any questions on the Wonder Bags?
They're cool.
Just a comment on the beans. Most Hispanics we cook with a pressure cooker.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
so we're talking in an off-grid situation where you do not have electricity, but pressure cookers are excellent for the beans. But in an off-grid situation, it would be hard to cook beans over a rocket stove because you have to cook them so long. But it can be done, and you will do it if that's all you've got to eat and that's all how you cook. You will feed that thing for hours. But if you can cook them halfway in that and then finish them off on a rocket stove, it's good. If you're trying to cook on your wood stove in your house, the new stoves, I have a brand new stove. They make them so you cannot cook on them. They put they call them baffles. And so I had to get mine. The best I could get was half of the stove you can cook on. Well, it's in the front. Your hot fire is not in the front. It's in the back of the box more. So you're not going to pull your coals to the front to cook. So I'm not sure what to do about that, but the Lord knows. So cooking in a Wonder Bag is a good thing. Yes, it is simple. And you can walk away. Andrew said he liked that part. You put your soup in, you walk away for hours. You put your hot water in, you walk away for hours, and it's still hot.